Karen trashed a gas station in Birmingham, now facing charges for fuel supply disruption. The Birmingham sun beat down on the cracked asphalt of the quick-stop gas station, where the air was thick with the scent of gasoline and rage. Karen Mitchell, 42, stood at the center of the chaos, her blonde hair frazzled, her eyes blazing with a fire that could ignite the fumes around her. It was supposed to be a routine stop for fuel, but nothing about this day would end quietly. The line at the pump had been long, the clerk too slow, and Karen's patience, already thin from a morning of petty frustrations, snapped like a brittle twig. It started with a shouting match. The clerk, Jamal, a lanky 19-year-old working his summer job, had told her the card reader was down. Cash only. Karen's face twisted in disbelief. "This is America," she bellowed, slamming her purse on the counter. "You can't just refuse my card." Jamal, trained to stay calm, explained the system outage, but Karen wasn't hearing it. She stormed out to the pump, yanking the nozzle free, and in a fit of fury, smashed it against the ground. Gasoline gushed out, pooling around her sneakers. The crowd gasped. Phones came out, recording every second of the meltdown. But this wasn't just about a broken pump. Karen's outburst had consequences that rippled far beyond the station. The spilled fuel contaminated the underground tank, halting all sales. In a small town like Birmingham, where Quick Stop was the only station for miles, this wasn't just an inconvenience, it was a crisis. Truckers couldn't deliver goods. Families couldn't get to work. The town's pulse slowed to a crawl, and all eyes turned to Karen, now dubbed the gas station Karen on social media. Jamal, still shaken, tried to reason with her. "Ma'am, you're gonna have to pay for this," he said, his voice trembling but firm. Karen laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. "Pay? For your incompetence? I'm calling corporate." She pulled out her phone, but the crowd was closing in, their murmurs growing louder. Among them was Maria, a quiet single mother who worked as a nurse and relied on Quick Stop to fuel her daily commute. She stepped forward, her voice cutting through the noise. "You don't get it, do you? People need this station. I need it to get to the hospital. You're not just Marjorie hurting everyone." Karen froze, her bravado faltering for a split second. But pride is a stubborn thing. She doubled down, pointing a manicured finger at Maria. "Don't lecture me. I'm the victim here." The crowd erupted, some shouting in support of Maria, others egging Karen on. The tension was a live wire, sparking with every word. Then came the twist no one saw coming. An older man, gray-haired and weathered, pushed through the crowd. It was Mr. Thompson, the station's owner, who rarely showed up anymore. His hands shook as he held up a photo of a young girl in a hospital bed. "This is my granddaughter," he said, his voice cracking. "She's in chemo. This station pays for her treatment. You've just cost us thousands, maybe more." The crowd fell silent. Even Karen's defiance wavered, her eyes flickering to the photo. For a moment, humanity seemed to pierce her armor. But Karen wasn't one to back down. "That's not my problem," she snapped, though her voice lacked its earlier venom. The police arrived, sirens blaring, and handcuffs clicked around her wrists. The crowd watched as she was led away, some cheering, others shaking their heads. Jamal slumped against the counter, exhausted. Maria, tears in her eyes, helped him clean up the mess. Mr. Thompson stood alone, clutching the photo, his dreams for his granddaughter now tangled in legal battles and repair costs. Days later, the story exploded online. Clips of Karen's outburst racked up millions of views, sparking debates about privilege, anger, and accountability. The town rallied to support Quick Stop, crowdfunding repairs, but the damage was done. Fuel shortages persisted for weeks, and Birmingham's sense of community frayed under the strain. Karen faced charges not just for vandalism, but for disrupting the fuel supply, a felony that could land her in prison for years. Her life unraveled as quickly as the station's operations had. Her job, her reputation, her carefully curated image, all gone. In court, Karen's defense painted her as a stressed woman pushed to the edge by a faulty system. But the prosecution brought out Mr. Thompson, whose testimony about his granddaughter left the room in tears. Jamal spoke too, his voice steady now, recounting how Karen's actions cost him his job when the station temporarily closed. Maria's statement was the final blow. She didn't just break a pump, she broke trust. We're a small town. We rely on each other. The verdict was guilty. Karen's sentence was harsh community service, restitution, and a year behind bars. As she was led away, her face was blank, the fire in her eyes extinguished. The town moved on, but the scars lingered. Quick Stop reopened, but the memory of that day hung heavy, a reminder of how one moment of rage could unravel a community. What do you think? Where does the line fall between personal frustration and public responsibility? Share your thoughts on justice and community in the comments below.